Now, the chief of Broadview Police told me that a gate is going to go in here, and it will be staffed by local police, giving them the ability to allow emergency vehicles through, and with the idea that it can...
At 4:32 this morning, federal agents breached what appeared to be a diplomatic office in downtown Minneapolis. What they found inside was not paperwork. It was 7 tons of narcotics, $340 million in laundered currency, and a network so protected by diplomatic shields that it operated for 9 years without a single warrant ever being issued against it. This is not about one embassy. This is about a system that turned immunity into invincibility. And what you're about to hear will show you how deep it really goes. 4:32 a.m., Minneapolis, Minnesota. The city is still. Streetlights glow cold against empty sidewalks. Frost clings to the windows of federal sedans parked 3 blocks from their target. Inside those vehicles, over 180 FBI and DIA agents have been waiting in silence for more than 2 hours. They've reviewed the floor plans 17 times. They've synchronized entry sequences down to the second. And they know that what they're about to do has never been attempted on American soil with this level of political sensitivity. The target is not a cartel safe house. It's not a stash warehouse or a trafficking den hidden in some industrial zone. It's a building with a brass plaque beside the front door that reads, Somali Community Trade and Humanitarian Liaison Office. Registered, protected, diplomatically insulated, and for nearly a decade, it has been one of the most untouchable narcotics distribution hubs in the Midwest. At exactly 4:32 a.m., the radios crackle with 2 words: green light, vehicles roll forward without sirens, agents move on foot through the pre-dawn fog, their breath visible in the frozen air, SWAT units take position at every exit. No one speaks. The only sound is the faint hum of a surveillance drone circling overhead, its infrared feed streaming live to a command post 6 miles away. The front entrance is reinforced steel disguised as decorative bronze. The windows are bulletproof, tinted dark enough to make visibility impossible from the street. This is not a nonprofit office. It is a fortress built to look like bureaucracy. Breaching charges are set in silence. Flashbangs are primed. And when the order comes, the door blows inward with a deafening crack that echoes across 3 city blocks. Agents flood the interior. Black-clad figures move through hallways lined with filing cabinets and framed photographs of humanitarian relief efforts. But they don't stop to read the plaques. They move toward the back offices, toward the basement stairwell, toward the places the blueprint said didn't exist. Inside the first secured room, agents find stacks of shrink-wrapped currency bricks reaching nearly to the ceiling. Bills in denominations of 50 and 100, sorted by currency type: US dollars, euros, Somali shillings. The cash alone weighs over 4,200 pounds. In the adjacent room, they find narcotics, not samples, not evidence of distribution, industrial-level inventory, 2.1 tons of fentanyl powder, 1,890,000 counterfeit fentanyl pills pressed to look like prescription medication, 3.4 tons of cocaine hydrochloride, triple-wrapped in vacuum-sealed bricks, 740 kilograms of methamphetamine stored in commercial plastic drums labeled as medical cleaning supplies, 68 kilograms of heroin, individually packaged for wholesale distribution. Every container is labeled, every brick is cataloged, every shipment log is recorded in a digital ledger displayed on 3 flat-screen monitors still glowing in the corner of the room. But it's not the drugs that make the agents stop. It's what they find in the third room. A wall of servers, encrypted hard drives, financial routing charts mapped across 4 continents, shell companies registered in 17 countries, digital wallets holding cryptocurrency keys worth over $89 million, and at the center of it all, a master database with a single operational code name: Project Sovereignty. One agent leans closer to the screen. The cursor blinks over a file marked Phase the 3 authorization, Minneapolis Regional Command. And beneath it, a signature line. A diplomatic authorization key traced directly to ambassador-level Somali officials operating inside federally protected zones. This is not corruption. This is command-level collusion, and the people running it believed they were untouchable. If you're still watching, hit like. Because what comes next is going to show you how a foreign embassy became the headquarters of a continental drug empire.
Behind garage walls. The raids were surgical, precise, months of surveillance condensed into 48 hours of chaos. At one site, agents breached a suburban storage unit.
The room is dim, lit only by the glow of a dozen monitors. Analysts have been working non-stop since the servers were brought in from the raid site. Coffee cups are stacked like towers. The air smells like burnt circuitry and exhaustion. And then, one analyst stops typing. I need everyone to see this. The lead investigator walks over. On the screen is a network diagram so complex it looks like a spider's web stretched across an entire continent. Over 240 nodes, each one representing a business entity, a financial account, a logistics contractor, or a transit hub. And every single one of them is connected to a central command structure rooted in Minneapolis. The operation wasn't just local, it was hemispheric. Analysts trace the pathways one by one. Money flows from street-level distribution cells in Detroit, Cleveland, and Chicago back to a series of nonprofit organizations registered in Minnesota. From there, the funds are transferred through layered accounts into international wire systems disguised as humanitarian aid payments, refugee support grants, and community development loans. The names on the accounts are legitimate. The charities are real. The grant applications have been approved by federal oversight boards, but none of the money ever reaches the programs it's supposed to fund. Instead, it moves offshore, through shell corporations in Dubai, through logistics firms in Nairobi, through trade brokers in Mogadishu, and then it cycles back into the United States as import capital for shipping containers marked as agricultural goods, medical supplies, or textile exports. The containers arrive in Newark, Baltimore, and Seattle. They clear customs under diplomatic waiver codes. And inside them, concealed beneath legitimate cargo, are tons of narcotics prepared for distribution across the Midwest. Every step is documented. Every transfer is approved. Every shipment is shielded by paperwork so clean it would pass any audit. One financial analyst leans back in her chair, her face pale. This isn't money laundering. This is state-level infrastructure. Further analysis reveals the scale. Over $340 million has moved through this network in the last 4 years. More than 11 tons of narcotics have been distributed through Midwest corridors during that same period. And at every critical juncture, the operation was protected by a single, devastating advantage: diplomatic immunity. The people running this network weren't just using fake businesses or bribed officials. They were operating inside embassy-linked offices, using foreign diplomatic credentials to shield their activities from federal oversight. When DIA agents tried to investigate suspicious shipments 2 years earlier, their requests were blocked. Not by criminals, by diplomatic protocols. The containers were marked as sovereign goods under international treaty protections. No warrant could touch them. No inspection could proceed without triggering a formal diplomatic incident. So the shipments kept coming. And the network kept growing. One senior FBI official reviews the timeline and delivers a single line that will appear in every briefing for the next 6 months. This is not negligence. This is engineered treason. The villain at the center of it all is a man named Ambassador Counselor Yusuf Osman Hersi, a high-ranking diplomatic official assigned to the Somali Liaison Office in Minneapolis. On paper, he coordinates trade agreements, refugee resettlement programs, and cultural outreach initiatives. In reality, he is the architect of a transnational drug empire built inside the legal protections of a foreign mission. His digital signature appears on shipping authorizations, his encrypted communications coordinate logistics schedules, His financial accounts funnel millions into offshore havens disguised as international development funding, and for 9 years, he has operated with absolute impunity because no one dared to question a diplomat. If you want to see how they dismantled this empire in 6 hours, comment exposed. What comes next will show you the largest federal operation ever conducted inside a diplomatically protected zone. 7:15 a.m. Federal Command Center. Undisclosed location. Minneapolis metro area. The walls are lined with digital maps. Red markers pulse across the city like a heartbeat. Each one represents a location tied to the network uncovered in the embassy office raid. There are 47 of them. Nonprofit headquarters, trade offices, logistics warehouses, private residences registered under false tenant names, money transfer shops, shipping depots, and at least 6 properties operating as covert drug processing labs disguised as cultural centers or community resource hubs. The operation has a name now, Iron Crescent, and it's about to become the most comprehensive federal enforcement action in Minnesota history. Over 1,200 federal agents have been mobilized. FBI, DIA, ICE, BS, U.S. Marshals, SWAT teams from 4 regional field offices. Black Hawk helicopters are stationed at 2 staging zones. Armored transport vehicles are positioned at key intersections across the city. This is not a raid, it's a siege. At 7:29 a.m., the order is given. Execute all targets. Simultaneous entry. Full suppression protocol. Across Minneapolis, agents move as one. Doors are breached in unison. Walls are blown open with precision charges. Suspects are detained before they can reach their phones. Evidence is secured before it can be destroyed. At a luxury condominium near Lake Calhoun, agents seize 840 kilograms of uncut cocaine stacked in a climate-controlled storage unit disguised as a wine cellar. At a warehouse in the industrial district, they discover a fentanyl pill press capable of producing 250,000 counterfeit pills per day. The machine is still running when they breach the door. At a nonprofit office claiming to assist refugee families, agents find no families, only encrypted servers, cash counting machines, and over $14 million in shrink-wrapped currency stored inside filing cabinets labeled client records. At a private residence in Edina, they uncover a tunnel system connecting 3 adjacent properties, used to move narcotics and cash between locations without ever appearing on the street. Every target yields evidence. Every location confirms the network's scale, and every arrest connects back to the same command structure rooted in the embassy office. By 1:00 p.m., the operation has seized 7.2 tons of narcotics, including fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine, and heroin, $340 million in cash and cryptocurrency assets, 118 high-capacity firearms, including automatic rifles and explosives, over 600 encrypted devices containing financial records, shipping logs, and communications, 14 vehicles registered under false identities used for cross-state transport, and 63 individuals are in federal custody. One senior DIA commander reviews the preliminary report and delivers a single assessment. The underworld took more damage in 6 hours than in the last 6 years, but the operation isn't over. Because what they're finding inside the seized servers is worse than anyone expected. 3:40 p.m. Evidence Review Chamber. FBI Minneapolis Division. Analysts are moving through seized files with the precision of surgeons. Every document is photographed. Every communication is flagged. Every financial record is cross-referenced against federal databases. And what they're seeing is a betrayal that cuts deeper than the drugs or the money. The network didn't just operate outside the law, it operated inside it. Over the past 9 years, 27 police officers, border agents, customs inspectors, and municipal officials were compromised. Some were paid directly. Others were coerced through debt or blackmail. A few believed they were simply helping a community organization navigate bureaucratic obstacles. But the result? was the same. They became part of the shield. Internal patrol logs show border inspection schedules deliberately altered to coincide with shipment arrivals. Customs records reveal waiver codes applied to containers that should have triggered mandatory searches. Evidence room logs document narcotic samples that were checked out for testing and never returned. One senior sergeant in the Minneapolis Police Department received over $780,000 in payments disguised as consulting fees for a security firm that didn't exist. His job was simple: notify the network whenever federal task forces were planning coordinated operations in the area. He did it 14 times. Another official, a deputy director in a regional customs office, approved fast-track clearances for over 80 shipping containers during a 3-year period. Every single one of those containers was later linked to the narcotics network. When confronted with the evidence, he claimed he was simply following protocol. But the protocol had been rewritten. For honest officers who had served for decades, the revelation was devastating. One veteran DIA agent reviewed the internal communications and said only this: "I thought I knew who I was working beside. I was wrong." Federal prosecutors are now building cases not just against the cartel operatives, but against the officials who protected them. Arrest warrants have been issued for 11 individuals inside law enforcement and municipal government. This is no longer just about dismantling a drug network. It's about rebuilding trust in a system that was quietly sold from the inside. One internal memo summarizes the damage with brutal clarity. What we uncovered was not a failure of enforcement. It was a parallel enforcement system controlled by those we failed to question. And for the investigators tasked with restoring integrity, the work has only just begun. 8:20 p.m. Strategic Intelligence Briefing. Federal Command. The map on the wall no longer shows just Minneapolis. It now stretches across the entire continental United States. Analysts have traced the network's reach far beyond Minnesota. The operation used the Midwest as a hub, but its distribution corridors extended into nearly every major metropolitan region in the country. From Minneapolis, narcotics shipments were routed through trucking contractors operating under legitimate DOT licenses. The drivers believed they were hauling textiles, electronics, or food products. The manifests were clean. The weigh station records showed no discrepancies, but hidden inside those shipments were compartments designed by engineers who understood how to beat X-ray scanners and K-9 detection protocols. The routes were surgical: Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Memphis, Atlanta, Charlotte, and from there into smaller distribution cells embedded in suburban neighborhoods that no one would ever suspect. Shipping records reveal that during peak operational periods, the network was moving an estimated 1.8 tons of narcotics per month across state lines without triggering a single federal alert. Weigh stations were scheduled for maintenance when convoys passed. Inspection logs were filed with perfect compliance, and every truck returned to its depot on time with clean paperwork and no evidence of tampering. It wasn't luck, it was planning. One federal logistics analyst presents the final summary. This network didn't avoid the system. It embedded itself inside the system so deeply that it became invisible. And then, buried in the seized files, investigators find the most chilling document of all: a strategic plan labeled Phase 4 Fee Expansion. The document outlines a long-term vision to establish Minneapolis as the permanent continental headquarters for East African narcotics distribution operations. It describes plans to expand diplomatic cover into additional cities. It references partnerships with officials in at least 3 other countries, and it projects revenue growth exceeding $1.2 billion annually within 5 years. This wasn't just a criminal enterprise, it was a parallel economy designed to operate indefinitely. One federal prosecutor reads the final line of the document aloud, by the time they realize what we've built, it will be too late to dismantle it. The room goes silent. Because for 9 years that prediction was almost correct. The final hearings are still months away. The indictments are still being prepared, and the full scale of the network may never be completely known. But what is certain is this: power doesn't always need violence. Sometimes it only needs silence and ambition. For 9 years, a network built on diplomatic protections, falsified paperwork, and quiet corruption moved 11 tons of narcotics into American communities. It laundered over $340 million. It compromised law enforcement officials. It shielded itself behind foreign immunity and legitimate-sounding organizations. And it thrived because no one believed it was possible. The real cost wasn't measured in seized drugs or frozen bank accounts. It was measured in the lives destroyed by fentanyl, the families broken by addiction, the neighborhoods hollowed out by violence, the officers who lost faith in their own departments. This story is a warning, not about cartels, about the systems we trust without question. If you're still watching, tap like so more people see this story. Comment expose if you want this kind of corruption dragged into the light. Share this so your city, your state, your community understands how close these networks can come to operating right beneath the surface. And remember, this story is a fictional dramatization, but the lessons it carries are real. Because the greatest danger isn't what we see coming. It's what we refuse to believe could ever happen here. Until it does,